Hi, Shira7. I'm back with part two of the Raising Your Frequency, Raising Atlantis videos. But this video is going to be geared more towards the men and how the male recognizes the higher self, the lower self, and the other dimensional selves. So, first of all, the type of things that men really concentrate on as far as their appearance and looks are their clothing. If you think about it, like most men are not that worried about different outfits each day, like women are. Male clothes are more classic. They cost more because they're better quality, because men wear their fashion doesn't change as much as women's. Okay, so then we have, like, especially for men of color, then we have the jewelry, like the gold chains a lot of these rappers are wearing, and you can trace that back to their ancestors in Egypt and Africa, that the gold was symbolic of the divine metal, royalty. It was a higher vibrational metal as well. And also, like, the earrings, like men wore earrings in Africa and Egypt. They had their ears pierced, both, just like the women did. And you start to see that that trend coming back, like in the 80s, the 90s and 2000s. The men started wearing their ears pierced again. And they tried to control this. They tried to say it was barbaric. They tried to say it was, not a good thing. They tried to say it was turning men into homosexual. They tried to make every excuse in the book, and then finally no one was listening anymore. Like some kind of consciousness took off, and people just started doing what they were going to do anyway. They rebelled against the norm of what society expected men to do, until they made a new norm, or a new frequency, or a new acceptance of things. Okay, and since we were taken from the culture and not really taught the culture, it had to derive either from within, remote viewing, higher selves, lower selves, other dimensional selves. These things would appeal to you naturally, because that's what you have in other dimensions, or past or present or future. That's what you have. And if you take another race or culture and compare what they're attracted to, like if you take Caucasian women, and you see a lot of these women who are wearing, like, really feminine lace, like in the Victorian era, or flower crowns, because in their Celtic ancient, spirituality, they had the fairy realm, the elf realm, and they're, channeling that frequency or that self. So that's why certain races and cultures are attracted to certain things. And then you have, like, if we look at ourselves and compare them to the ancestors of the people that came before us, we'll see a lot of similarities. You don't even have to have been watching the History Channel to look down and see, my hair's braided or curly, and I have on this gold necklace, or plate style necklace, and I have earrings in my ear, and I really like the colors that they're wearing. I like bright color. Then you'll see a resemblance, even if you have never watched the History Channel before, or even seen a picture of your ancestors from wherever you're from. You will see a similarity in your taste in clothing, okay, and hair and whatever, okay, makeup, whatever. Then you'll see, okay, Like now there's a lot of men who are wearing dreadlocks. You'll see there's a lot of men wearing beards. You're starting to see men reverting back to more primitive, or I won't even say primitive, more ancient ways of looking. Okay, and then you'll see and for, like, if y'all didn't see my first video, the reason this is because when we astral travel, when we dream, our higher selves, our lower selves, our other dimensional selves have to be able to recognize who we are. And the way that they do this is by, saying, okay, well, yes, this looks like me. If you don't look anything like yourself, how will you recognize yourself? This is why Barack Obama looks a lot like Akhenaten. The carving, the stone carving, the statues in Egypt. He recognized himself as a leader, a pharaoh, literally, not as a form of like encouragement or, oh yeah, you're a pharaoh. No, literally, he saw his face in stone. And he came back to that frequency, of that self in that time period. He rose back up to that frequency and maybe even higher, as far as being a leader or, the president or the pharaoh. He rose back up to that, and so did the Michelle Obama statue. They rose back up to that. We left ourselves records. We left ourselves notes. We left ourselves carved in stone. We left a reminder of who we are. It was hard to destroy a lot of that stuff. A lot of it got destroyed. If we could look back and see ourselves, this is why like history and ancestors are so important. If we could look back and see ourselves, then we would know who we are, and we wouldn't have to guess or feel insecure or try to be someone else. So if we look back and saw who we are, just as we can see in a dream or an astral travel, then we wouldn't have any confusion, as to who we are. We wouldn't have any problems communicating with our higher selves. We wouldn't have any problems experiencing prophecy. We wouldn't have any problems, seeing bits and pieces of our future lives or other people's lives as well. Because once you recognize yourself, it's easy to communicate and find your other self. Okay, so let me just get more into it. Okay, there's another reason that a lot of the other races and Europeans destroyed many of the Egyptian statues and noses, because they feared that if we could recognize ourselves in this great civilization, that we would not be able to, they would not be able to control us for as long as they had. They would say, oh, well, if we cut them off from their history, cut their statues that they built to remind themselves of who they are, we erase all the evidence that could make them easily recognize themselves, then they won't think that they're capable of this type of, think. And it's true. I mean, they do the same thing in religion. Like if you're a Christian and your Jesus is blonde hair and blue eyes, and they said that's your savior, that's your Christ, your Christos, then when you dream, when you astral travel, when you seek God, when you seek answers, when you seek spiritual guidance, you're going to be looking for this image, but you're not going to find it or recognize it, because it's not going to be there, because it was never there. And so that's how they fool you a lot, by giving you false things to look for and focus at. When they give you something like that. You're not going to be able to find it. This is why a lot of people have said, okay, well, Jesus was black and the Bible says his skin was bronze. And still, you know, you go back to say, okay, well, I know Jesus is black, and so I'm going to, you know, and then still, you're still not looking for you're looking for the black version of the white Jesus. You understand? So you're still not going to recognize. Okay, so this is why they changed the appearances of people, even in other spiritualities such as voodoo and Santeria and all of that stuff. They changed the deities into Catholic saints who have fair skin, when the original deities were the Lao, the African deities. So now they still can't be recognized. This is why a lot of times when people are into these spiritualities such as voodoo and Santeria and Palo, and you know, they're petitioning these spirits out of their true form, or their, you know, what they look like, they're not going to be able to recognize. You know, if you make an altar to me, okay, let's just pretend I am a deity. If you make an altar to me and you have someone else's picture up there, how am I going to know it's for me? I don't know. So a lot of these people who are doing this are just doing it in vain. You know, it's not really working because that's not the true image. So you have to think about it like that. And also the anger and the animosity and the hate behind them doing that, it doesn't help it at all. And I know it's hard to accept, but that is what keeps it alive. And this is going to sound crazy, but hating someone for doing that does not help the situation. You ever seen that show Punk'd? It's the same principle. Okay, you should be able, okay, they always pick a celebrity, someone really important, right? And they make something crazy happen to them that shouldn't happen to a celebrity, right? Or something that's unbelievable. And the celebrity is so upset and so mad and so emotionally, you know, upset, and they're about to go off until one moment when Ashton Kutcher jumps out and says that you've been punked. What is the first thing they do to Ashton Kutcher? Do they try to kill him and beat him up because he punked them? No. They laugh at themselves. They laugh and they give him 5 and they hug him and they say, I can't believe that happened to me. Oh my gosh, you got me. And what do? Go right back to their Ferrari, limo, Range Rover, whatever the heck they driving, and go on about their business as being whoever superstar. Right? Now, if time didn't exist and our punk was 400, 500, 700 years, if we're still focusing on the prank that happened to us, if we're still mad about that, how are we going to get back to our lives? How are we going to go and do what we need to do as, you know, this important celebrity or deity or you know, person, higher self? How are we going to move on and go? You've never seen an episode of Punk'd where the celebrity is truly so upset and angry that he can't move on or gather himself up enough, herself up enough to, you know, laugh, say you got me, and then leave and go on about their business. Okay, and we stay in that anger, we're staying in that prank. You understand? We're stuck. We can't get out the prank. The prank becomes no longer a prank, but it becomes a reality if we're taking it that seriously, if we're letting that affect our emotional frequency, you know, then we're changing. So now you understand. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not saying that we should just move on and forget. I'm saying that it's documented. We'll never forget, you know, and I'm just saying the emotion behind it is what is keeping us in this low frequency realm, you know. Um, that's it, you know. It's a cruel thing to do. It's a cruel joke. Now I can get up and laugh because I remember who I am. Oh my God, I'm a celebrity. You know, oh my God, I'm my higher self, you know. That was funny. You got me. Okay, now moving on to bigger and better things. Okay, if everyone could do that, we'd be so much further in advance. I mean, think about it. Who oppressed the Egyptians? Did anybody ever pull a prank on the Egyptians when they had it? You know, who were they mad at? No one. They weren't mad at anyone. You know why? Because they were the ones in control. You know, who were the Africans upset at before anyone came to try to take over? No one. They were living in their highest frequency because they didn't have anyone, you know, suppressing them or punking them. Okay, that's why they were in their higher frequency. But now that, you know, people have done this, we have to get up, dust it off, laugh, and move it along, because that is the only way, frequency wise, emotionally wise, that we're going to raise our vibration. If you ever notice, the reason why the vibrations are higher now is because there's a lot of younger people, and a lot of the older people are leaving, and a lot of that anger and hate is leaving, you know. But if you keep promoting it and inducing it, it's just going to come back, and we're going to be stuck still. So yeah, don't ever forget your history is written in stone. It's carved in stone. Now it's, you know, it's not, you want to hear something funny? It's not even in the history books because they would put it in there because they were ashamed of themselves. I mean, your history has been erased or not documented except for by you. You know, a lot of people won't document the things the tragedies that have happened. A lot of people keep it in files and they have it forever. If you can get past the emotional frequency of it, you can get past being stuck in it. Okay, you know how some people, like, you see their Facebooks and their life is just so terrible, and they're always posting negative stuff, and they're always just sad. You know, they're crying all over Facebook, or they're ranting all over Facebook, angry all over Facebook, and their life continue in that direction. And then you see those people who you just want to slap because they're always saying happy stuff and their life is so perfect and da 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 da. It's because that's the frequency that they live in. You know, that is their frequency. And they chose to forget, not even forget, they chose not to even focus on it. They chose to laugh, dust off, get up, move it along. You know, there's some people like to suffer because they like the vibration of that frequency, because they were taught to like it. You understand? They were taught to like being in a vibrational frequency that was low. Now, I'm going to end this video and go ahead and do another one because it's getting long. This is going to continue. It's going to get deeper. So if y'all like this video, thumbs up. Watch part 3 coming up. I'm going to make it right now so you don't have to wait. All right, because I got like a bunch more pages to go. And all this came like this morning, just flooded. Okay, all right.